So as I say, first year has been very much about establishing the role of the board. We want to work with the club and with the other supporters groups to make sure the SCG is as effective as possible. Probably the other big thing this year though has been the introduction of the Football Governance Bill, and that's something that we as RamsTrust have advocated for consistently, and we're very, very pleased that the bill has now gone through. It's not necessarily absolutely perfect in every aspect, but I think that's the nature of any political bill that goes through. We've played quite an active role, so we have met with most of the local MPs to garner their support and to get their opinions and to try and influence their opinions around what we as RamsTrust would advocate in that Football Governance Bill, and John's been a real help there in helping us get those meetings. Thank you, John. And we've also been very active with the FSA, so making sure the Football Supporters Association, that we're represented our views as RamsTrust alongside all the other affiliates and associate members to help shape what that Football Governance Bill looks like. And I think it comes at a time, so I talked about Sheffield Wednesday and Morecambe, but we also read again news about getting Premier League matches being played internationally, breakaway leagues, and for us that independent regulator and the Football Governance Bill is not the answer, but is a key step to ensuring that the voice of fans is the things that influence the future of football, not just the people who have got media and spend and billionaire owners. Nice to be able to have. So that will continue to be a very strong part of our structure, and we've now been joined by David. I'm now looking for David. Thank you, David. So David Watts, who we co-opted onto the board last year, has played a really key role both in terms of managing our governance, but also working with the FSA to make sure that your trust is represented very effectively at the meetings that we have. So thank you to him. What we would say is we're still trying hard. We recognise as RamsTrust, we do think we've made some good inroads on communication. So hopefully some of you have seen we've got monthly newsletters. We have the second Player of the Year award, which Simon, who's joining us online, presented to Ebu, so it's also very perfect in many ways. Although I am not going to lie, I'm being slightly swayed by Carlton Morris this season, so I think my loyalty to Ebu is going to be slightly divided. And we hope that we can continue to do that with the club, and that's something that you as members vote on both every month and every year, and then we offer a ballot to say if you'd like to come and present that. Then 2 people this year came down to the ground and presented that alongside us. So we again appreciate the support of the club, but equally, more importantly, the support of the members. And we'll keep doing stuff. So you'll see, I think Andy's going to do some AOB about other things we're doing with other groups. Steve in particular has done lots of work on newsletters and getting interviews with former players. We've already had the chance to speak to Roger and Roy, but we've spoken to a number of players, because we want to remind you that whilst we are about governance and fan representation, we are all massive Derby County fans, and at our heart that's what we're about, but it doesn't mean that we can forget the other things, because in our experience, trust and governance only become important when there's an issue. So we need to make sure that if there is ever anything, that we as a trust need to work with the club on, we're in a very good, strong position to do that, and to be that critical friend and that critical support. So, you'll be glad to know I'm nearly finishing, so I want to thank some of my board members. We will circulate this much more detailed 3-page for you to read. I bet you can't wait, you're going to go home. First thing you'll be to read this. But I do want to read out some bits and pieces, specifically about my fellow board members. So, I'd like to thank all the RamsTrust board members for their considerable commitment and hard work this year. It is sometimes important to remember that every single person here is a volunteer, and we do this for love of the club and for love of wanting to protect this club for the long term. As always, Andy Kerry has undertaken a huge amount of work on behalf of all members in her role as secretary and membership secretary, and in no small part at all organising this evening. So thank you, Angie. It's really much appreciated by everybody, I know that. We'd also like to thank Jim Coyle for his ridiculous quizzes, but also for his unwavering support as vice chair. Jim stepped in a number of times this year. He's got man flu, by the way. So if he looks slightly, he's very much on the fence of coming, but
I'm being brave.
You have been a very brave person. So we thank Jim for being brave and infecting you all with his man flu. So we'd like to thank Jim, and I'd also like to massively thank Tris, who's sitting alongside his treasurer. Tris is stepping down this year from the RamsTrust board, but he's done the task of treasurer now for a couple of years, and whilst we totally understand his reasons for stepping down, we're absolutely gutted to miss him, and we thank him for all of his work that he's done for us. As I mentioned, Steve Kitson, who's sitting in the back, he's done such a massive amount of work on comms We've updated the website, we do lots of work on logo, we're doing lots of work to make sure our communications are improving. We know there's still more to go, but we work tirelessly, and I think that's been led very much by Steve, so thank you for that, Steve. And as I mentioned, David, who we co-opted, has been a really key lead on both the FSA and all the independent governance work. But there are other people I've not mentioned, I'm not trying to single them out, I know them here, Andy, John, everyone else. Everybody here, I pass on my heartfelt thanks. Without your contribution, RamsTrust just simply wouldn't be in the position that it is, and I think we are in a very healthy position overall, so thank you. We are losing a few people this year from our board, so Ollie Wright, who some of you may know, Ollie stepped down. He's been working a lot with Steve on comms, so Ollie's now stepped down from us, but continues to work with us on our communications. Kev Savage, who literally posts a photo from every single ground, from every single match that he ever goes to. But Kev's got a lot of family commitments, so he stood down as well this year. And I say, I've already mentioned that Tris is stepping down, so on behalf of all the board members, I'd like to thank those who are standing down for all of their support. And I won't read any more, that's the whole of the chair report. If you do, we will circulate it. If you do have any questions of me or of the board, either grab me later on today or obviously email into the active list, but hopefully that covers the key points. Right.